Hey, what is going on all my fellow godlies and Warframe enthusiasts around the world? I am Vance from the popular web series of Warframe God Builds, and as you may or may not already know, if you were on the Facebook fan page, I announced that I was going to do a Chroma ReForged a while ago, and I did it because I knew that there was going to be an awesome, ridiculously cool deluxe skin that came for Chroma, and alas, here it is, so that's why I'm doing this video. I figured there was a lot of people who were going to be coming back to Chroma because of the deluxe skin, so now is a great time to update the build, especially if you are running something very similar to the Warframe God Build's Chroma. What I can say about this build versus the previous build that we did is that this is a direct upgrade. With most ReForged videos, I kind of do, side grades, different alternative ways to play the Warframe. If you didn't like the God build, now you have a healthy alternative. This is a direct upgrade. Forget the build that we did before. This is a direct upgrade. It's capable of so much more. But the mods that you are going to need for this are Rejuvenation, Handspring, Transient Fortitude, Blind Rage, Vitality, Steel Fiber, Narrow-Minded, Rage, Prime Continuity, Prime Vigor. Prime Vigor, Steel Fiber, and Vitality are all things I think that are pretty self-explanatory. It goes into giving him more of a health pool. More of a health pool means you can use your power and strength to amp the effectiveness of him doing damage when he gets damaged. See, the awesome thing about him is that with Vex Armor, you can rechannel the damage that's done unto you back at them. And then with Elemental Ward, specifically on a Fire Chroma, which I'm still using, Elemental Ward will put you back at a steady HP. Now this does this for, it also does it for nearby allies as well, which is really cool. As I said before in the previous video that I did for Chroma, he's kind of a little bit of a healer. Just a little bit, not much, it's very negligible. But it's there, and it's nice. So if, there's a guy who's just a millisecond away from going down, you can help him out by doing an elemental ward next to him. And the same can be said about you in a really tight situation. Not that you're ever gonna need to worry about yourself in a tight situation, because the minute you get a lot of damage put on you, you're gonna reflect it back. Plus this build in particular, if you use my entire setup, my entire loadout, you'll be peachy. You will be able to replenish your health, no big deal. If you notice and you're worried about the presence of Blind Rage but no Streamline or Fleeting Expertise, don't worry about it. As long as you have the Zenuric Lens with your proper efficiency and your Rage, you should scale into in-game very well. One thing I will say about this particular setup is that it's kind of anti-effigy. I'm sorry, it was unavoidable. Effigy isn't one of those things that scales into in-game very well. It really only provides CC, and it kind of just has a mind of its own. It just conveniently does whatever it wants to do whenever it does. So the only instance in which I actually recommend Effigy is when you're in a tight spot, when somebody needs a revive, when the pod's about to die, just emergency issues. You just pop it out, get whatever done you need to get done, and then pop it back on, because it's going to burn through your energy too quickly. And the fact that it doesn't do enough damage is it's just worth overlooking Effigy. So if you don't like sacrificing Effigy, I would suggest that you stick with the old God builds, because that's a little bit more Effigy friendly. As far as the rest of the powers goes, the Spectral Scream, which I think is useless. I really think that they need to relook at this power and make it be similar to the Vex Armor. Make it store up a little bit of damage that you have coming in. That way you can redistribute it as a massive nuclear fireball. I would just like to see it be stronger, see it scale, be a little bit more viable in-game, because otherwise you're just kind of not going to do anything with it at all, and it'll be kind of embarrassing. What is a dragon without its fire? Seriously. Now, I'm specifically not focusing on the Ice Chroma because I am a avid Rhino player, and the way that I play Rhino is I rely pretty heavily on my armor, and with Chroma, I rather just regenerate my health on the fly. I rather face tank, I rather get damage, distribute damage, and then heal it back over time. It sounds like it's really risky, and it kinda is, it's a gamble, but at the same time you shouldn't have to worry if you are using Warframe. I've been wanting to showcase this build for so long, but to be honest, it just didn't synergize with anybody as well as it does with Chroma. Because here's the thing, anybody who knows Warframe knows that when you block, you can charge up the blind and then relinquish the blind. And another awesome thing about the Warframe is it has such a knack for status. I've got it up to 70%, which means it's a viable candidate for healing return. Combine that with a little bit of damage here and there, some elemental damage, some speed, and you've got a monster of a weapon with Chroma, because he's going to boost your elemental damage with his Vex armor the more that he gets hurt. You'll be able to blind enemies if you get into a tight spot simply by blocking, then letting the blind go, unleashing holy hell melee damage, and getting that health back with healing return. But one thing I haven't covered so far is the fact that I have not used Arcanes in a really long time. Primarily because I just don't support the raids the way that they're set up. I don't like it, and I'm not about to grind my balls against a freaking brick wall trying to get all Arcanes for all the different Warframes. But what I am using here on his helmet is Arcane Grace, and what this does is it will give us a little bit of health back when we get damaged. So you can see how this works really well in conjunction with healing return and Vex armoring. You do need to get damaged, you do need to take a little bit of beating, that way you can, redistribute the damage back. There's a different variety of weapons that you can use aside from your melee, your primary and your secondary included. But for variety's sakes, I've chosen to focus primarily on Euphana Prime, because not only is it a bastard of a crit weapon with its main type of fire, but when you use your secondary type of fire, it focuses more on status. And this is really, really good at close range, which is something that Chroma is really good at doing, fighting at close range. So Euphana Prime, if you build similar to this type of setup, you're going to do awesome crit, which is going to be good for long range, medium range, anything you want to use it for. And then, the elemental damage is good for close range shotgun blasts. But for primaries, I've chosen to focus upon the Javlock, which is another build that I've wanted to showcase for a really long time. Specifically because, well, Javlock got a buff, and it does AoE now, and it's really good. I mean, it's really, really good. Especially considering the fact that I got a Riven mod for it, and I always feel like such a dick showcasing Riven mods on a build, but this really just does it for me. I mean, I'm a big fan of Javlock anyways, just aesthetically, the theme of the weapon. I love stabs. I'm really big into Egyptian mythology, so I love the whole fucking point, poke, shoot. It's just, it gets the nostalgia up and going. But this is what I'm using, and I've chosen to focus upon it because, again, the status. Chroma is really good at boosting damage with Vex armor, and this loadout is completely dependent upon you taking damage and redistributing the damage. I think that Chroma is a superior tank. I mean, he competes up there with Nidus, Inaros, even Wukong, Rhino. He's definitely one of those guys that I think that a lot of people overlook. Hell, I think even Digital Extremes overlooks, because he just needs a little bit of finesse, You need to take a look at that first ability, maybe modify it a little bit, make it scale upwards. That way people can get some actual use out of it and rely more upon his kit instead of just 2 fucking abilities. Effigy is really cool, but it doesn't scale, so we're going to have to ditch it with this particular build. And if you dislike this build, then no worries, just go back to the old Warframe God builds and make improvements on that. Maybe take the knowledge you've learned from this video, go back to the old one, combine it, and create a build of your own. So if you like this video, I'm going to say to do, as I always recommend you to do, like that sumbitch, subscribe, comment, go to the Facebook fan page. Join in on the discussion. We keep you up to date. Every time there's a Void Trader, we'll let you know. We'll post screenshots of what he's got. I mean, there's all kinds of news going on that fan page. There's no reason for you to be subscribed and not on the Facebook. Seriously, just make a Facebook for us. We'll love you back. And as always, this has been Vance, signing off. Peace.